I'm Steve Watson. I'm the crime prevention specialist with the county and a member of Triad. Proud to be a member of Triad. Do a lot of good work. And one of my main outreaches as a crime prevention specialist with the county is the senior community. I try my best to work outside of Triad also on things with the senior community, especially with the senior safety and a lot of scams and frauds. We're actually doing senior safety today instead of scams and fraud. Got you on that one, Jim. But it's going to be brief. It can take a long time to describe a lot of stuff that you can tell people, but a lot of it's really complicated. And crime prevention is simple. What you see here today is common sense that you can pass along. But it's things that we don't think about. Everybody gets busy, doesn't have time to think about how easy it is to lock your doors and what kind of locks you need on there. So, senior citizens, of course, you guys know, are the most rapidly growing segment right now. About 1 in 8 are 65 or over. It's about 35 million in the U.S. right now. And as we age, our bodies become less available, with less ability. They start to degrade a little bit. It's like the picture. And due to this, the loss of eyesight and everything, we tend to think that we're, a little bit more vulnerable. And seniors tend to always think, well, they're a main crime target. Well, actually, you're not really. The seniors are not really the largest group of people targeted by crime other than scams and fraud. They're actually 40% of the scams and frauds are targeted at seniors, whereas violent crime and property crime are not really aimed a lot at seniors, but it's aimed at everybody. But even if it's not, I pass this along, is precaution and prevention is the best way to go about it. What is crime prevention? It's the anticipation, recognition, and appraisal of a crime risk and the initiation of some action to remove or reduce it. I love definitions. Everybody likes to try to make a definition that makes it sound really, the best definition, most professional. All this is basically you guys are involved in crime prevention today because we were asked here because you can anticipate, you can recognize, and know that eventually somebody can be the victim of a crime. And by bringing a crime prevention specialist, bringing Triad in to give you information and you can pass it along to the seniors, you are actually crime prevention officers just like I am. You're passing the information along. It's pretty simple. There's 3 parts of a crime itself: ability, desire, and opportunity. The ability and desire, if somebody has the opportunity, the ability to do something and somebody has the desire to do it, you can't really affect that. There's actually nothing you can really do about that. But what you can do is take the opportunity away, and that's what I'm here today, give you guys some tips on how to pass it along so seniors, that opportunity goes away, the crime can't occur. So that's mainly of course, the famous crime prevention triangle. I want to go over the main 3 when it comes to seniors, which are locks, lights, and landscaping. Simple stuff. In the physical security side of it, it's very simple. You can call a lot of different locksmiths, love locksmiths, great people, but they'll try to sell you the most expensive locks that you can get. And they'll charge you a fortune to put them in. Whereas you can go to Lowe's, Home Depot, and get a good quality lock that you can use that is just about as good as the ones they're going to sell you for about $700. I recommended some lock changes on a gentleman that I know, and when it was all said and done, he wasn't too happy with me because it came out to about $825, and I was like, no, I didn't say do that. So you can actually go to the stores and get good quality locks, and what you're looking for in a good quality lock is the box should state that it's grade 1 security. If it's grade 3, it's cheap. Grade 2, it's all right. But the grade 1 are the main things, and usually they're listed on the back of the box. And nowadays, you want it to be bump and pick resistant, and you also want it to state on the box that it's the highest level of residential security. Seems pretty odd that you'd have to look for that, but they will try to sell you a high security lock when it's actually not. I don't get money back from Schlag or Kwikset. I make that known. But these are actually good locks. You can buy these sets for about $47. And this is great to recommend to seniors that are on a fixed income because they want to get more security, but they don't want to spend $120 on a deadbolt lock. I actually have these locks on my house. I put these locks in my house because if I'm going to say they're good, I want to make sure that I've got them on there. It's got all the security features. Very simple stuff. You can rekey them. So you don't have to replace every door. You can replace one at a time and just rekey it to the key you want it to. Put one on the basement, rekey it to the same key of the front door. Put one on the back door, you rekey it at the same time so you can use the same key. Used to be where you had to, replace them all at one time, and it was a fortune to do. So nowadays, it's a little bit easier. And one thing I put this YouTube video on here because bumping, has anybody heard of lock bumping? You can look it up online and learn how to do it. If you want to become a burglar, real easy to do. Go online and you can learn how to do it. Thank goodness it requires a little bit of effort, and most time criminals, if it's any effort at all, they don't bother with it. But I've actually caught somebody with about 7 years ago, before it was really popular, everybody knew about it. I found a set of keys that were on a gentleman that I arrested one evening for breaking into vehicles. He actually had one of these sets of keys on him. I had no idea what it was. You can actually be charged with them now as burglary tools. So if you can hit that YouTube link, it's a short video. It's about 2 minutes. And it shows you how easy it is to get into a locked house. This is how a lock works. The pin's inside of the tumbler. It's a great demonstration of how it works. I never really knew how it worked. It just raises the pins up on the different keys to a break point. Once that break point is reached, that's when the tumbler opens. Here's a guy just sitting on his couch. Shows you regular key. This is great. And there's the bump key right here. Notice how everything is trimmed down. The key points on the key are trimmed down to a really low level at the same level. All it takes is a grinder. There's your bump key right there. There it is. I've actually worked several where I'm pretty sure somebody bumped the lock and went into the home. Kicks them up when you hit it and brings them to that break point, because all of them are at that basically the same level, and what it does is it pushes the lock forward when you hit it, and it kicks them up, and as the key goes in, it finds that break point and unlocks it. Yep, you hold pressure on it. He's going to show you exactly how to do it. The gentleman sitting on his couch. See, it's locked. This is how simple it is right here. Notice how he's holding it. He's going to put pressure on it. Doesn't work. He's putting pressure on it now. And as soon as he hits it, it's unlocked. It's that simple. Scary. Thank goodness it's not really prevalent out there. It's growing a little bit because you can go on the internet and find out how to do it. You can find directions on the internet. Nobody's going to go out and break into homes, right? Because I didn't show you this video. I didn't show you the video. Yes. Exactly. I need a copy of the sign-up sheet. But exactly. One thing to know is that the lock sets themselves, like the regular locks that go on doors, regular handles, they're no good without the deadbolts. The deadbolt is your true security. They're known as, of course, tubular lock sets. What you're looking for in a deadbolt, you want a 1-inch throw, like that, at least a 1-inch throw. You want the screws themselves that attach these two together to go into the body of the lock. You don't want it to go into the brass studs on the cheaper locks that you pay like $12, $18 for. You want the screws to go all the way through, make sure they're hardened, and make sure that the front plate spins. Because if you don't, the cheap ones, you can actually take a pair of vice grips or channel lock or plumber's wrench and just rip that thing right off, and it will snap the lock in half. I've worked burglaries where that's actually been done. So you want that to slide. So that's the two main things, is you want those screws. You don't want the stud post right there. You want the screws to go all the way through. There's the stud post right there that I was talking about. Those will break off in a minute. All you have to do is just take a pair of pliers and it will break off. This is the main thing right here that you want to tell seniors, especially if they ask you about security. What can I do to make my home more secure? It can take 30 cents if they have decent locks, 30 to 50 cents. All you need are those 3-inch screws. That's the door jamb where the bolt goes into. Usually it's 1/2 inch screws. Those are screwed into a 1/2 inch by 1 inch piece of wood. You can kick those things easy, or you can just bump into the door and it will usually break it off. What you want is the 3-inch screws to actually extend into the door frame itself, because there's usually about 1/2 inch to 3/4 inch void in between the strike plate and the frame. Those 3-inch screws make a big difference. I've kicked doors in my job when there's a 1/2 inch screw, and I've tried to kick doors in with the 3-inch screws, and there's a big difference. I haven't made it into a couple of them with the 3-inch screws before. It's that good, and it's just 50 cents, 3 screws right into the strike plate. For lighting, it's the most effective and least expensive form of crime prevention, because people get the idea they're going to be seen. They don't want to be seen, so they tend to move away from those areas. Best thing that you can do is purchase floodlights. Nowadays, everybody, the old floodlights, you're worried about your neighbors. You wake them up every two because a deer walked by and the light flashes on for about 15 minutes, flashes off, then flashes on, flashes off. Makes people really, really mad. But what they've got now is they've got cutoff fixtures like this where you can actually direct the light. Lighting's come a long way since those first floodlights. And you can actually point them where you want them to go, opposed to just the light going everywhere and lighting everything. You can actually light the doors up, the entrance ways. They're a little bit more expensive, but they'll last a whole lot longer. Oops. Yes, they will do it. They'll also, if it's too low, if somebody's looking at your home, they'll actually come up and unscrew them to see how long it takes you to realize that the lights aren't on. They'll do it to your back door lights, the little fixtures. If you ever find your light unscrewed and loose, somebody might actually be looking to see how long it takes you to realize that light has been tampered with. If you're going to use sensors, which I recommend on back doors, back decks, because the main entry point on burglaries is the back deck. Because where do you usually let your dog out? Where do you usually go out in the evening? Your back door. And where do you come in and put your computer, your purse, your wallet, your keys? On that little island right near the back deck door. So all they have to do is come in, shine the flashlight, see a computer, walk in, grab your computer, and then you don't even realize they've been in your home until the next day when you're looking for it. Happens all the time, and it's usually because the door's unlocked. What the sensors do is it kicks on, of course, scares them. They move away. They don't want to be seen. But you really have to adjust these. 2 people, it works well. Make sure that it doesn't go too far out into the yard, because you can actually walk up underneath of it. And you don't want to make it too close to the door, because you kind of want to see if people are out there, at a distance. You want to make it about perfect, about 6 to 8 feet outside of the door, the radius it should be, to have it actually work really well. Because when the light kicks on, it scares people away. Something people never think about is ground lighting. There's a lot of people in Albemarle County do not like lights. I tell people all the time, you need lights. No matter what, if you don't have good locks, you need good lights. Well, I can't put lights up because I want to see the stars. That's fine. That's good. And I agree with that. I'd rather have my home lit up than see the stars to make sure people don't burglarize my home. But one thing you can do is the ground lights, that doesn't take away from the sky. You can still see the stars. You can still see it, but your home is lit up. Ground lights actually work really well because it doesn't bother neighbors. You can put them on photoelectric cells. They come on and go off when you want them to, but they protect your home really well from the front area. And you're not, like I say, you're not bothering people, because people tend to not like lights. The landscaping itself, you want to keep it low around the homes. You want to keep everything around windows low. You want to have a line of sight out of your window, out into your yard. You also want to remove those so you don't have people hiding in the bushes watching your home. Which happens sometimes. And at the base of all windows, make sure that you recommend putting small grade gravel, but big enough to make noise when you walk on it. And any kind of aggressive vegetation, barberries or something with thorns on it along bases of windows. The rocks have some psychological effect that I'm going to be heard. No matter whether anybody's home, it actually makes them think I'm going to be heard, so they tend to stay away from that. And then the aggressive vegetation also keeps them away from it, because it hurts a little bit when you get involved in that. Good example here of what should be trimmed. Bushes should never get this high around front doors. They should never get this high around doors, windows, and these branches here block lines of sight. You can have really nice landscaping by keeping it down here. You've got low landscaping, it's well maintained, and they can see every way in their house. Every line of sight's there, and there's really nowhere around for people to hide. Or cases where people go over, I think my house is being watched. Sure is, right in your own yard, there's beer cans and cigarette butts where somebody's been staying at night watching your house. It's scary but true. For the crime prevention side, sorry I'm going through this kind of quick. I can talk forever and ever, so I'm trying to pace myself here. And the crime prevention itself, how seniors can stay safe at home is mainly, like I say, lighting. Garage doors, garages are an entry point where people use a lot of times. People actually do daytime burglaries in people's garages than when the doors are left open. We worked several cases a couple years ago where people were mowing in their yard out back. The people would pull right into their garage, grab all their hand tools, and then back out of the garage and drive away while the people are home. So my advice is always keep the garage door locked, make sure there's plenty of lights in the garage, and always repair it. The bulb, when you kick the garage door opener, that light should come on so you can see inside of your garage before you get out of the car. Simple stuff. And carports, put the carports lights on either photoelectric cells that come on at dark and turn off at dawn, or have a sensor that turns on and off by itself. Simple enough is, most time if you've got a back gate, keep that locked, because people, especially people that are breaking into homes, look for a quick exit, and if they've got to go through a fence, even a small fence is a deterrent. But if they have to go through the gate carrying your 27, 32, 55-inch TV, it's going to be harder for them to do that. So make sure that you recommend that the gates are always locked. Storm doors, very important for home invasion type robberies. It happens around here. We're in Charlottesville, but things like this happen quite a bit. By locking the storm door, and when you open the door, there's a barrier there. So if somebody's, talking through the barrier, they try to get through that door, you've got enough time to close the door and lock it before they actually get inside. Storm doors are great security. They don't seem it, but it gives you a chance to close the door. Make sure your garage doors are always locked and closed. Has anybody ever had the police come up to their home and about 3 o'clock in the morning and tell you your garage door's open? Anybody? I've done it to people. Some are happy, some aren't really happy at all. But when they go out and they find their lawnmower or something gone, but yeah, they're not happy at 3 in the morning. But door viewers, everybody knows door viewers. We've had those things on the market forever. They are one of the best things that you can do because you can see who's coming in, who you're going to let into your home. So make sure that you turn your light on. This is one my son right here. He's about ready to go to college, but I still, over all those years, have not been able to convince him before he opens up the door, turn the porch light on. Because you don't know who's out there. He just opens up the door, and hopefully he does better when he's out on his own and has his own place. But very, very simple things that you can buy. Timers. They've got great digital timers now that you can put on your front porch lights. All you have to do is program it in. The front porch light comes on at different times, stays on as long as you want to. They're very inexpensive. I've seen them for like $29. Good quality digital timers. They have some of the old mechanical arms that will actually turn your lights on and off. And photo sensors are great. The pole lights at the end of your sidewalk at your driveway, that's probably one of the most important security lights in your whole house. Because for some reason, if the pole light's on, they think they're going to be seen going in through the yard unless they can traverse around. But for vehicle break-ins, those pole lights stop people because they're afraid if somebody looks out the window, they're going to be able to identify them. Or they're going to be able to see who they are. The pole lights are great. Photo sensors, $12. You screw the little photo sensors into the light bulbs, even if you have 3 slots, little small candlelight type light bulbs. You can put those in for like $40. You can have the thing come on and off. And I've seen them last they're like $12. I've seen them last up to 5-6 years. I've actually seen them last that long for $12. It's good home security. When you're out, always put something on. Have timers. Have these timers. They're like, I think last ones I saw were like $14. They'll turn your lights on and off. They'll turn individual radios on and off. It's a shame the TVs nowadays, you turn it on and you always have to turn it on. You can't just kick the power on and it comes on. But the older TVs are great. if you go away or if seniors ask you what they should do for safety, just say put a light on timer in the basement, put one on upstairs. Don't have it always come on at 6 in the evening, 8 in the evening. On the different days, kind of change it up. Have one light upstairs come on at 8 o'clock, have one in the basement come on at 10. You're just trying to do as much as you can to fool whoever it is. Important too, I almost forgot this one, the Charlie bars in the sliding glass doors. You know, mainly people with sliding glass doors, you think, that's where they're going to break my glass. You know, most of the time they don't break the glass in the sliding doors. It makes too much noise. They usually lift it out of track. I used to do glass work. My family owned a glass business when I was growing up, and those sliding doors, if they're locked, I can get in that thing, no problem. All I need is a cat's claw pry bar, and I can have that thing lifted out of there. Unless it's pinned or unless it has a bar in there that keeps it solid in the channel, those things are really simple to get into. When you leave for a prolonged amount of time, this one everybody knows, make sure that the newspapers are picked up. Have somebody pick them up. And please don't leave notes. I've gone out on house checks. People require house checks, request house checks. I'll go out there and I've actually found notes on the front door. For people to pick up their newspaper, their neighbor, hey, I'm going to be out of town, can you pick up my newspaper? I'm like, why would you put a note like that? So that's why this one seems dumb, but I found them. And please don't go on your Facebook page and give a tour of when you're in France, because the people, the burglars, are out there scanning Facebook looking for the people that are in France. Have your lawn mowed. That's something, because people look at lawns themselves if the grass is too high. And request a house check. We now have an auxiliary program that I'm pretty much in charge of it, where we have all of them are 64 and over is our auxiliary force. They call themselves the Walker Patrol. We have one that's close to 70 years old, sworn officers. But what they do is we've set up a house check program where they go out and actually physically get out of the car, walk around, check windows, check doors for damage, check light bulbs for being unscrewed, check the homes to see if there's any sign of tampering. And it's a great service, and you can go right onto our webpage and request it, and you'll have the auxiliary officers come out, and they try to do it at least 2 times a week. Because it used to be the officers are too busy, and you might get a check once every 3 weeks. These guys actually are trying to do it 2 times a week. So it's a really good service. They do a great job. Yes, they're uniform. They have a gray uniform. They have everything, but it says auxiliary on their badge, and there's an auxiliary rocker. Yep, yeah. Oh, yeah. When they were in the volunteer uniforms, people had called, what are these guys in these volunteer uniforms out here? But it's a good program. Yes? I don't know. I know they have CSOs, traffic CSOs that do traffic, but I don't think they have the auxiliaries that go out. Have somebody check your home. If you can't do that, get the police to do it. Have somebody check it. Have it checked in the morning, evening. Don't check it all at one time. Don't always come out at 5 o'clock in the afternoon and check. Make sure it kind of is changed up a little bit. And this is especially the one that I like to impress on seniors, because they're nice people. I mean, I love talking to senior groups, and one thing I've noticed about seniors, they're really good at pointing out what's wrong with your PowerPoint, especially spelling errors. Yeah, that's misspelled. That happens all the time. That's how I edit my PowerPoints. I go to senior groups. But they prey on the older Americans, the utility workers, the salesmen, the pretend utility workers and salesmen will come up and say, hey, I've got, this extra concrete. I've got this extra pavement. I see your tree is about ready to fall down in your yard. They will come up and do that. What I like to impress on seniors is don't open up the door. Ask them for credentials. Ask them for a number to their company they can call, or simply ask for a business card, because most of the time, if they're scams, they don't have business cards. And if they don't have a business card, they're not a reputable business. So I impress, please do not open up the door for any, especially after windstorms. Albemarle County is famous for guys that will come out, say, I'll cut your trees down because it's about ready to fall on your house. Oh, no, my chainsaw broke. Can you, front me $150 for the job, and I'll go get another chain for my saw? You never see him again. I actually had one guy carrying a dead black snake in his pocket up to an attic because he was next door and said, I came over, was actually doing yard work, went over, knocked on the door of older Americans. Poor lady, she was a widow, had just lost her husband, a couple months earlier, and he told her, hey, I just saw a snake go in your attic. Goes upstairs, has a dead black snake in his pocket, comes back down and says, I found a snake in your attic. I can go up to the store and fix it. He had her going, and she ended up about $600 later. We found out about it, and we actually caught him. We set him up to come back to Lowe's, and one of our officers arrested him on scene. But that's what they do. A dead black snake. I mean, but just simple stuff. Like I say, the paving companies know we have they class themselves as gypsies that come around certain times of the year. They're really good at going to the front door, knocking, talking, asking for things, while people have to go to the back door and see if it's unlocked. They also scan your house, and they're pretty good at what they do. Let them know never to hire any tree service around here unless it's reputable. Never allow anyone into a home to get a drink, the phone, use a bathroom while they're working in the yard or working around your residence. I've worked cases where people are at a reputable job, knock on the door, hey, can I use your bathroom? They actually go in and either take things or they go in and case your home. I worked one where about $18,000 worth of jewelry got taken by a gentleman that was working on their deck. And just went in, poor lady, oh yes, it's hot out there. She went away and he took $18,000 of jewelry. Simple stuff. I know that was kind of quick, but it was a lot of material to cover. But it's really simple. When seniors, older Americans ask you, what can I do? Locks are the main thing. Locks are the first line of defense. And lights outside of the home. Leave lights on. So, Jim, you want to come up? We're going to answer some questions.